Yeah, I am Snehasheesh Das. I identify as a Bahujan queer person and I am affiliated to an Ambedkar organization called BAPSA in JNU. The trio of NRC, NPR and CAA it is not to affect just the Muslim communities in India, but there are a lot more other vulnerable communities like the Bahujan community who come under the SC, OBC and ST categories, and the trans communities who are also fighting for the reservation for since a long time in the Indian history are going to be affected. How they are going to be affected? See, the first thing to produce to be a citizen under the NRC, you have to produce documents, right? And to have documents, you have to have accessibility to lot more other things like land rights, education, etc. For a long time in history, the Bahujan and the Adivasi and the trans communities are deprived of education, health, land, and all other kind of affirmative actions. Like the Land Right Act the Forest Right Act comes into force in 2006, which gives the right to forest to the Adivasis. In 2006 only, the Mandal Commission, around 2006, the Mandal Commission is implementing the reservation in education and health sectors. That means all these documents around education, around wealth, around land is getting produced only around 2000s. But to prove the citizenship, we have to go back to 1970s and 1980s, etc., and we have to prove documents. But back then, all the marginalized community, including the SC, OBC and the trans community, are still fighting for their reservation, land rights, etc. But alongside, even though they can come back through CAA, because a lot of Adivasis cannot come back through CAA because they do not belong to all these organized religions like Hindu, Christian, Buddha, Jain. There are a lot more other religions, Bhisai, Bhisai and Mahima, which are not even recognized as organized religions. Even lot more Adivasis do not come under all these religions. Also, they consider themselves as nature worshipper. So this is a misidentification first, and second, to fight this legal battle, you need to have capital. And after lot more years of marginalization and deprivation of rights, and there is a going on the poverty and a lot more alienation, people from marginalized community, including SC, OBC, trans and other communities, do not have enough capital to fight the legal battle to come back in CAA to have citizenship. And like other implementation mechanism, NRC is going to be faulty. Like Aadhaar, it's been 15-16 years for Aadhaar to be implemented, and still there are ghost cars, there are faults. So NRC is going to be faulty, and people have to fight legally. And to fight legally, you have to have capital. But until you fight legal and come back as citizen, you are deprived of a reservation. You are deprived of land. They will take away your land, and you will be thrown in a detention center. You will be all abandoned like that. But when you come back as a citizen again, they will give you some remuneration, they will give you some compensation, but that is not ensuring a right when you are already deprived of reservation and land and other rights. So it is, they will give you land in some marginal areas because all these lands will get occupied by all other non-marginalized community, the upper caste communities in India. So there will be continuous marginalization to all these deprived community. And in the trans bill, when the trans persons are fighting for affirmative actions, for their reservation, for accessibility to other spaces, in this bill they will again be trapped into the question of re-regulation of body, because in a lot of trans people are changing their names, but when they are changing their names, they won't trace back to their documents to 1970s or 80s. So this is going to a further marginalization of all these communities.
What do you think that if a document is saying that you are a woman,
yeah,
but the person is looking like a man,
yeah,
and simultaneously, if that,
yeah, I got it. So
about the trial.
Yeah. So
what do you think that
listen,
that be creating a problem?
This NRC is only talking about two gender, that is male and female, right? The people who will identify transgender under NALSA Judgment 2014 or under the Transgender Bills Protection of Rights Bill 2019, they do not have any identification under this Citizenship Amendment Bill or even NRC. But also to identify as male and female, you have to go through a sex reassignment surgery under this recent trans bill. So this bill is always regulation and re-regulation of bodies. But then when you do not have an identification in NRC and CA, that means there is a continuous exclusion. But then when you go for any document, there will be definitely questions of your gender, questions of your sex matching the sex you are assigned to the gender you are identifying with. So all these bills are going to re-regulate the body. You have to answer the state continuously. So the onus of answering, the onus of proving the citizenship falls on the trans person, which is continuing for several more years. So definitely there isn't any mentioned category. Even to mention your gender into the male and female binary, you have to go through a sex reassignment surgery, which is also going to cost a lot of money. A lot of trans persons in India, after years of exclusion, cannot afford all those capital for all these processes. So there is definitely going to be marginalization and exclusion on this basis.
And your introduction.